week 10. You get to double-digit weeks, coming off a really tough game against a really good Central Washington team. Just what did you learn about your team this week, and what are you looking to see out of them in the next 2 weeks to get a strong finish?
Yeah, and what I learned about our team was that we are getting better, and there's some growth there. Obviously, Central Washington is an outstanding football team, very deserving of the ranking, of top 10 ranking. I think they're coming there 8. They'll move up. So where we stand right now is that we have a good football team that's playing against great football teams. Where is that good to great? And that's my job. And looking at all of it, say you identify those areas, because the good to great it's smaller than you think. And in a game like that last weekend, they end up getting what people would say the breaks in certain key moments. And and that really is when you're talking about a championship season like they're going through right now. Those are the edge, because we've done that. We've gone through our championship seasons, and now you've done them enough to know, okay, it's not a big margin, but it's the important one. It's the critical one. It's the area of life that everybody's always trying to find that edge, and a lot of times it's just becoming a little bit more focused. It's dubbed as a big game, and this is where I want to change our mindset, and I want to grow the program. And it's that there's no such thing as a big game. It's every moment by moment, and so the crowd and the fans and the media can dub this a big game. That promotes a lot. But when you take a mindset of, hey, every moment is big, that right there is how you maximize life. That's how you fulfill the moment, and you grab more of life. And right now where we're at, I want our guys to understand is that you don't let the circumstances dictate your response, and because that's really reacting. It's so we want to choose. We want to be intentional about how we approach practice. It's the big practice. It's the big prep. And so this is where you find out in a game against Central Washington that they were able to come on top because we didn't maximize our moments as much as they did. And we had the ball. They had the ball on the ground 4 times, and we only get 1 turnover the whole time. And so they were able to find a way to get that ball. So here's where we're at as a program. We're good guys, great team. I love it. I'm right now fired up to go back to work with them because of just I love what I do, and I love this team. And I know we have a game this week against a good opponent. So we're going to get to work, and we get a chance to play college football.
Entering halftime, 10 apiece. What did you tell your guys in the locker room?
Well, I told them exactly what I thought was that we have more in the tank. I didn't think that was our best half of football. I think that the 10-10, I thought we should have been up more. I thought that there's still more in the tank. And so the halftime speech for me is that, guys, love where we're at right now. Fired up about that. There's so much more in the tank that you have. That's right. That right there becomes just as my job as a coach and the coaching staff is just saying, hey, helping them understand that, and helping them to grab that. Because the more in the tank comes back to, once again, the execution of certain details, not getting caught up in the emotional hijack that can happen by stress of a quote big game, and like I said, how people on the outsiders see it. So we came out and we played good football in the second half too, and we're in there. The 9 minutes left, a little more than 9 minutes left. It's 2017, and it's exactly where with 2 great teams when they play against each other, where that game's going to be at. We have a chance to continue to go up, and unfortunately, a turnover happens for us. And I think that's a moment right there where I felt like there was a reaction to it versus a response, and that's where we're going to get better at. And that's where, that's my job, and I'll hold myself accountable to that. Say, okay, I want to make sure our team is ready to respond in those moments, that sudden change that we always talk about. And so we're going to do that because we're close, and there's a chance this week to get better.
Coach, was there ever a point where you felt like you guys were kind of just outmatched or outgunned by Central Washington? They were stopping the run early on, and it was one of the things that you knew you guys had to be able to win the fist fight. That's something you guys always talk about. Did you ever feel like the physical battle was lost early on in the game or throughout the game in total?
Yeah, no, it was never felt like it was lost. Always felt like it is physical because we anticipated that. Because, like I said, they're a very, very good football team. And what you're going to see is where their D-line is really a real strong point for them. And I said in the press, in the ESPN interviews prior to the games, I guess, and they were asking about athletes, this athlete, that athlete. I said, guys, I know it's not the thing that sells the paper, gets the eyes, but really it's going to be in the trenches. This is the eyes are not going to don't have the eyes on the athletes, have the eye on the skilled players. Excuse me. The eyes have got to be in the trenches because the trenches is where this game is going to get won or lost. And I thought that it came down to that, where you're in a heavyweight fight and their D-line had, I think, got a few more hits in on us than we got on them, and their O-line was able to crease us at the end of the game a couple times that we would rather have back. But once again, you're playing a high-level top 10 team, and we've been the top 10 teams. We understand that when you play at that level. Essentially, what you're seeing from that game was this is what playoff football is going to be about all the time, and our plan is still the same. Our vision, hey, we're trying to build a perennial powerhouse here with under the guise of, hey, building champions while pursuing championships. To do it so differently that this is a relational-based program. We're executing this through the people, knowing that it's easy to coach football in a transactional way. I yell at you, you react to it. I get this. We're not doing football that way. And we're doing football in a way that sustains the growth. It sustains the success. And this is where just now, as we're continuing to climb these mountains, is that the experience we had at Central Washington is just another eye-opener to say, hey, here's an area we can get better at. And here's where we can be truthful with each other about and respond. And that's where I love our physicality. It's got to be a little more. It's got to be more. It's got to be, we've got to last longer. It's got to be the whole 4 quarters. Overtime if necessary. And that's where our team will get better at.
As you head into your last road game of the year, what's Western Oregon? What are you looking at to stop from their offensive standpoint? What are you looking to exploit? And, what are you looking to get better at this week?
Yeah, well, what they have this week at Western Oregon, in the last couple of weeks, they've been playing 2 quarterbacks. And so you essentially have got to have a plan, almost like dual game plans, where you've got to be ready for the running quarterback, and I want to see a guy who can stand in there and throw a dime across the field. And so their receiving core is really good. And last week against Tarleton, they're opening it up, and they're trying to get all the eligible receivers out there. They've had some tough challenges, and they haven't had quite the winning-loss record that they want. But they're a dangerous team, and Arn Ferguson does a good job with them, and so we're excited to get on the road. It's going to be homecoming for them. It's going to be wet. The forecast is it's supposed to be wet and muddy, so it's a kind of game where kind of a childhood growing up, and you see it's raining outside. You grab the football and you go to the park, and it's like so we get a chance to play football in the rain. It's going to be a lot of fun. But they have a good defense. They have the personnel on offense. We need to make sure that we get better in the areas of guys come out of the gate, get after it the way we did this last week, but then, hey, sustain it and know that, like I said, back to what I was originally saying, that moment, hey, every play is a big play. The more you get used to that mindset, the more you elevate not only your whole team, but you elevate the mean of how you are living as a person, because now you're maximizing the moments. And we talk a lot, hey, manage the moment and the future will take care of itself. And that's where I want everyone to grow. I want to personally keep growing as a coach, and I want my coaching staff to keep growing that way, and I want our players to keep growing that way, because I think that's how you capture more of life, and that's what's going to show up this Saturday as we capture, we go after and try to capture a better game and get after it and play better football.
Last thing, what is a season like this where the GNAC is just so tough week in and week out? I mean, your 4 losses are by an average of less than a touchdown.
Yeah.
For the young guys that are on the field right now, that are going to be coming back for you next year, what do you hope they get out of a season like this? Well,
what you need to see, what I appreciate about our GNAC football this year, this is what playoff football is like all the time. When you get, if you have one tough game the whole year, and then we're not going to go far, and you're kind of living in a fantasy. GNAC football this year has provided us the key perspective that should fuel all of your training, not just for next year, but I'm talking right now, how we were talking about right now. And this is where I want to make sure, we have a great senior class that these guys are all in. And then on the other side, you have a great younger group coming up. But whatever they anticipate, whatever I have next year on that kind of thinking is really, it's futile, because you don't know. You don't have tomorrow promised to you. And when will you wake up then? When will you decide, I have this much time, I have that much time? There's so many people that I hear these stories, and I've been a fool like that at times too, where you're like, well, I have time. And all of a sudden, at the very end, you realize I'm running out of time, and you're trying to put all this training and preparation to a small amount of time. Well, the reality is you missed it, and you're never going to be as great as you possibly can be. And I go back to, if the more we can all say we have right now, these are the moments you have right now. Let's make the most of it. If you're married, don't think, I have time to go ahead and create a great marriage. No, you have right now. Create that great marriage. If you're a parent, you have right now. Create that great relationship that you say you want to have with your kids. Whether it's if you want to be a great student, well, what do you have right now? Do you have time? You're sitting around. What, you playing Xbox? Review your notes. You have right now. For us to be a great football team this Saturday, we have right now. And so I'm all in. I'd say this, after I leave this meeting, we're going back to film room. The coaches are already game planning. Until you can realize you have right now, I don't think you'll ever have what you anticipate tomorrow to bring, and you'll never get it. That'll just be a carrot out in front of you. So this is how we're living. It's how we're going. This is where we're trying to win the day, and this is how we do football here.